In the last episode of the Marseille Career Mode, we improved at the goalkeeper position, signing Rulli and also bringing in Ribery's regen. We received a sizable offer for Camara, and with those transfer funds, we brought in Milik on a permanent basis. Hey, what's going on everyone? Flick here. Welcome back to another episode of our FIFA 21 Marseille Career Mode. This is episode number 4 and the conclusion to Season 2. We've drawn a lot of similarities so far to last year, currently 4th place in Liga 1. And that's on par with where we want to be at the end of the season. As long as we finish top 3, I'll be happy. And we have successfully progressed to the knockout stages of Champions League, finishing 2nd in a very difficult group consisting of Real Madrid, Dortmund, and Slavia Praha, as we now match up against Napoli in the round of 16. They managed to finish top of their group, finishing ahead of FC Bayern, and this will make for some interesting storylines because Milik did used to play for Napoli before we signed him on a permanent basis. The result of this match may very well let him know whether he made the right decision to join us here in France. We've got some important decisions to make though in our starting 11. I said that if we make it to the knockout stages of Champions League again, I want to make an improvement in our starting lineup. And I think the biggest area that we need to upgrade is at left center back. Alvaro has performed really well in this career mode, above expectations, but he is starting to progress in age. 31 years old at an 80 overall. I don't see him getting much better. So I think bringing in another center back would be best for us. There were also some speculations that we'd re-sign Camara, whether that be on a temporary or permanent basis. I tried to approach Manchester United about a loan deal, but they were having none of it. And he's actually improved in his overall since joining United. We'll keep him in our transfer shortlist though, so that maybe we can look to re-sign him at a later point in time. If Manchester United don't win titles in England or in Europe, I think a return is on the cards. And after all, Gaya has done well to step in at the starting center defensive mid role for us, going up +2 in his overall rating, earning a new contract deal, and now serving as an important player for the club. With 41.5 million to work with in our transfer budget, I don't think funds are going to be an issue for whichever center back we choose to sign, but it will be a race against the clock as we look to bring in Issa Diop from West Ham United. Marseille and West Ham do have a transfer connection in the past, with Payet having left Marseille for West Ham, then joining the club again a few years later. The reason I decided to make this transfer before having a full scouting report available is that Monaco were also in talks, so we need to finalize this deal before he makes the move there. We can get a pretty good idea of what Diop's market value is based off of his IRL evaluation in the 20 to 25 million range. I submitted a bid of 25 million just to be safe, and we probably could have paid a little bit less, but I'm happy with this deal, not paying too much more than Diop's market value, and we're adding a quality first team center back. While the Diop transfer is going to use a good portion of our available funds, I wanted to free up a little bit more space by letting some more players go that haven't featured too much for us. Strootman and Benedetto being the main ones, and two fairly realistic transfers if you ask me. Strootman having played in Serie A for a good amount of his career, so he'll be going to Lazio for 7.5 million. And it looks like Southampton have lost Danny Ings as Benedetto takes over the number 9 role, leaving for 6.5 million. That now gives us 28 million to work with in our transfer budget, enough to bring in a Wonderkid. And I was looking through some current Marseille transfer news. Apparently Jose Juan Macias from Chivas is linked to make the move to France. A former Marseille player in Gignac is helping to facilitate this transfer. He's also in Liga MX at this stage of his career, but Macias decided to make the move to Strasbourg instead. This must have been in a previous transfer window. Instead, we'll turn to the comments section for a player that has been heavily suggested. He's got a great potential in FIFA 21 and may even be Europe's next big wonder kid, Christos Solis. While left wing is his primary position, I think he's going to be more of a backup striker for us, but realistically, if he can improve in his overall rating, we'll find a place for him in the starting 11 for whatever it takes. We just barely had enough to finalize this transfer as well, completing the deal for 27.5 million. He'll be signing as a rotational player to a 4-year deal worth 30 grand a week. Recapping some of the top transfers around the world, we did have a big deal going down in January. Madison with the surprise move from Leicester to Barcelona for 108.8 million, and then a couple of deals for Chelsea, adding Kimpembe but losing Conte. PSG are again one of the top spenders for the January transfer window, adding Stiller and Marino for 80.85 million. We spent the second most in funds, Diop and Solis being added for 52.5. Monaco not far behind. Of course, they would have brought in Diop, but instead they've settled on Senesi, Arnautovic, and Salazar. Lyon making just one big transfer, adding Luke Shaw at the left back position, And finally, it's Lille who add Armstrong for 11.1 million. They also noticeably lost Andre and Vea, so a couple of top prospects leaving that club. It's time for some new scouting reports though, as we keep our main scout in France for 6 months, looking for any type of player. A scout being sent to Cote d'Ivoire for 6 months, looking for an attacker. The mindset for this is that we'll add the next Didier Drogba, who did spend some of the early stages of his career at Marseille before making the move to Chelsea, where he's probably most known. Finally, with Alvaro transitioning to a substitute role, we'll set up a scouting network in Spain looking for a defensive-minded player. Marseille also have a rich history by bringing in lots of Spanish defenders. A couple of dev plan updates. Talvan will be going to a wide winger role to help improve some of that sprint speed. Also, the shooting, passing, and dribbling statistics. Hernandez used to be on the inverted winger dev plan before. Now he'll be switching to the wide playmaker to also boost up some of the acceleration stats and the passing attributes. Radonjic was a welcome addition to the squad in the last episode after returning from his loan spell at Union Berlin. I figure he's probably best as a left winger for us. That gave him a +1 in his rating. He's definitely going to continue being an impact sub. When we need a goal, he can be brought on. Finally, Solis has recently gotten an upgrade to both his weak foot and skill move set in FIFA 21 with one of the squad updates. He's now at 4-star weak foot and 3-star skill moves, so we'll try to replicate that in this save as well. But now that we've added quality backups in practically every position, I think that we've got 2 good options for what formation we want to use. Of course, keeping the main one, the 4-3-3 defensive, it's worked out pretty well for us so far in this career mode. But I think also offering the 4-4-2 will let us get Solis into the squad at the left wing position. That way Hernandez can shift upwards to being more of a striker / center forward. It's going to depend heavily on the form of our players. If we have more strength in the midfield, maybe we option for the 3 midfielder formation. If Solis continues to develop quickly, then maybe we try to opt for this 4-4-2 instead. We've got some big matches again in the gameplay portion of the video, trying to make some progress in Champions League and continue finishing as one of the top clubs in Liga 1, and even trying to make a cup run in the Coupe Nationale. But if you are enjoying this Marseille career mode, a like on the video would be much appreciated. Subscribing to the channel is the best way to stay up to date when new videos go live. But let's get into the gameplay. Every now and again, the career mode stars align, and man, was I looking forward to this Champions League fixture against Napoli. Not only are they a unique opponent, they've got some high potential players in their side, and they've made a huge transfer by bringing in Raphael Varane at the left center back position. Imagine if they still had Koulibaly to partner with him. What a defensive duo that would be. But bad news, as Antoine Hernandez will be missing this match. That means that Solis will make his debut for us at the left wing position. And it was pretty much all to play for in this away leg, as the home fixture ended in a 1-1 draw. Ever since I started to incorporate realism and storylines into my career mode saves, I've been passionate about finding ways to help you all think outside the box, and maybe every now and again the game will give you a gift like this one. Milik being our top goal scorer since he joined us a few seasons ago, will now look to show Napoli what they've been missing out on. Obviously, Milik won't be able to do it alone, though. It's going to require a complete team effort if we want to get a winning result here against Napoli. And Insigne, despite getting off to a good start, it's Chaleta Tsar who comes to the rescue and puts in a big defensive stop. Really absolutely loving that, because in the last episode, we relied a lot on him making some key saves. But hopefully we can turn things around here despite the continued pressure from Napoli. It's Victor Osimhen who gets the first goal for them. Very difficult to defend because they just knocked it down to him, and we really didn't have time to react. Before the halftime break, we just about get the chance for an equalizer. It's Solis. Imagine if he could have scored on that opportunity, but he is called for offside. Still 45 minutes left to play in this match, and we just need to stay composed, not get too ahead of ourselves, and just focus on each chance as it comes up. We're creating opportunities in this fixture. Milik and Rongier with some good link-up play. Milik eventually playing through our attacking midfielder, but the effort was not the best. As it's Solis again, this time playthrough, he will be onside. Has a couple of options in the middle. We go with the R1 triangle pass, which has worked out for us in the past, but not on that occasion. I think Solis just needs to work on his passing a little bit more in the future. But this press from Napoli was just too much for us to handle at times. Zelinski will double their lead, and that is a big goal for them, as this gives them the away goal advantage, meaning that we'll need to score 3 in about 20 minutes if we do want to get the winning result from this one. At this stage of the match, we don't have a lot of options available. Going with the 3-4-2-1, just getting as many attackers forward as possible. and seeing what might be able to result from it. That will also leave some defensive gaps as Napoli look to continue their lead. It's Osimhen who tries to get his second goal of the match, that effort going just wide. And unfortunately, we just couldn't create anything towards the later stages as we fall out of the Champions League once again in the round of 16. With us out of the Champions League, that now means that full focus can go towards the competitions remaining in France, Ligue 1 and the Coupe Nationale. In the round of 32, we had a fixture against Lille, winning that match 3-0 on the simulation. More difficult opponents as it's Lyon in the round of 16. We also won that match 2-0 courtesy of a brace from Hernandez. It's Strasbourg in the quarterfinal, and again we see a 2-0 scoreline. Solis this time will come in at the left wing position. I think that was just after the Hernandez injury as he gives us the result. And now it's crunch time. The semifinal is where we will pick things up with some gameplay, and it's PSG that we match up against. As we get into this fixture, we are closing in towards the end of the Ligue 1 season, and PSG have just lost a single match as they look to win the league title. I'll admit it is a bit surprising how well they've done this season despite losing big players like Kimpembe. You can see they have brought in Militao from Real Madrid, as well as a couple of other options across the board. But realistically, when Neymar and Mbappe are in good form, good results are going to keep coming. Those are the two players that we'll need to contain. PSG were quick to create some highlights, and it's the two players that we were most concerned about, Neymar and Mbappe, who basically created this chance. Oscar denied by Rulli, as we will get a chance of our own. Working the ball around and spotting out the open run from Solis on the left. Unfortunately, hitting the crossbar. Still has a lot to improve, but I think he's shown some early signs that he can be a promising player for us at Marseille. And fortunately, we've got good enough squad depth. The only reason that he's starting right now is due to the Hernandez injury. But we're already into the second half, as it will beat Solis, who again cuts inside, this time on his preferred foot. And unfortunately, this one goes just over the crossbar. Two really good chances for him to give us the opener. Generally speaking, though, I think we had the advantage in this match, definitely putting PSG under more pressure, especially towards the later stages. As it is our club captain, Thauvin, we can rely on him when we need a goal, and he will find the back of the net with that header set up by Solis, who really created so much room on that left side of his. I don't know what the situation was with PSG's defenders, but we're absolutely going to take that goal. As we get into the 76th minute, Oscar again centrally setting up Di Maria, and it was nearly blocked by the defender. Had to be a good save in the end from Rulli. As Tecatito, we're familiar with him from his time at Porto, and he kind of haunts us here, as it's another one of those situations where we thought we had the goalkeeper clearance on full power, but it only goes as far as Mbappe. He's able to get the equalizer in heartbreaking fashion. We're going to get one more chance to maybe find the winner towards the end of the match, basically from the opposite side of our first goal, because crossing seemed to be our go-to method of scoring. But this match will be going into the 30 minutes of added extra time. Thauvin again trying to get this one on his left foot, dribbling around a couple of PSG players, eventually over to Radonjic, and it is Solis who finally gets his goal. Just being at the right place at the right time. I think he even went on to play as more of a center forward / striker towards the end of this match. And despite being pretty early stages, I'm telling you, this guy has a lot of potential for the future. It's certainly not easy to get the match deciding goal for a fixture with this much importance, but he has been known to score so many goals in the Greek league, and I'm hoping that he can have similar fortune when he does ultimately receive a move to a big club in the future. But for the purposes of this save, that big club will be us here at Marseille as we look to continue this momentum in the Coupe Nationale. The final of this competition will be played against Stade Brest in a few weeks' time, but for now we need to focus on the league as it is very congested here at the top. Some surprise appearances like Bordeaux in the 4th place position, but you can see a couple of teams behind them. Lille with 65 points, Rennes with 65 points, and also Monaco with 64. A top 4 finish is a fair achievement on its own, but for us personally and the progress we made at Marseille, we want to make sure we finish at least top 3 so we can guarantee Champions League again next season. A win here against Lille will certainly help our chances, and I'm sure they'll be looking for revenge as we defeated them on the final match day of last season in Ligue 1. I'm going to go ahead and say here right from the start that our fortune against Lille was not the same in this fixture as it was last year, as they do open up the scoring just 13 minutes into the match. Little did I know that would be the first of many goals scored by them. We're 24 minutes into the fixture, as this is a great switch of play from Renato Sanchez. We try to put a stop to it by making a slide tackle, maybe making a deflection, but you can see here from the replay, we just weren't able to get there in time. It's a beautiful switch of play and a classy finish to double their lead. 32 minutes in, it's going to be the same striker that scored the first goal. He was absolutely ruthless in front of the net, as really unable to make that stop, as it's 3-0. And thinking back about some of the fixtures that we've had against the computer this season, I think this might have been the worst performance we've had to date. Not only for this career mode, but across all the different series. Things were just not clicking for us. We had a few goal-scoring chances, and even here, just after the beginning of the second half, we finally do have a bit of a break where Milik has just enough pace to get by the defenders. He'll get one back for us as we cut the deficit down to 2. And while I don't like being on the losing side of fixtures, it does add a little bit of realism into the save, considering how much was on the line for Lila. As our opponents make a few substitutions, they'll take this corner kick short and look for some options around the edge of the box. They were so patient throughout these 90 minutes, and despite us winning back possession on a few occasions, they just won the ball back so quickly, and Jonathan David able to finesse that effort. Past Rulli on his near post, and it really was an outlier for him. I don't think he'll concede any more goals than he had in this match, as they do make it 5 in the 88th minute, just minutes before the end of this match. And at this point, I was just trying to hang on to some possession, make sure that things don't get any worse than they were before, as the ref finally calls for full time. An incredible performance from our opponents, one to forget for us, as we get into our final match in Liga 1. So here is the current situation. With 37 matches played, we find ourselves in 4th. Bordeaux ahead of us, but they've got a fairly difficult fixture against Rennes. Lille 1 point behind us as well, so we need to be sure to win this upcoming match. Angers will be our opponents, and I think they've had a very successful Liga 1 season, all the way up in 8th. And despite not recognizing a lot of players in their starting 11, clearly something's working out for them. Still without Hernandez, we'll rely on Talvan to maybe find us some goals, and hopefully we can clean things up defensively. It seems like the loss we had just a few match days ago doesn't seem to be affecting us. Centon's getting inside the box and looking for Talvan in the middle. Maybe had he shot that first time, we would have had a different result, but it is an injury straight afterwards for Centon's. Fortunately, we do still have Sakai available, who I did renew the contract for. He has gone up in his rating this season, so I think it is well deserved. Solis setting up Milik, and what a block this was from the Angers defender. I don't think the goalkeeper would have been able to put a stop to that one. We just need to keep pushing along though, and eventually I'm sure we can get that go-ahead goal. It is going to be a chance for our opponents, and a good save from Rulli on his near post. We're into the second half now, as Milik sets up Bazor, who plays through Rongier, and the cross goal effort saved well by the opposition goalkeeper. They were doing their best to knock us out of even the top 4 this season, not even being involved in European competitions. As in the 76th minute, we had the initial takeaway, but it falls right back to Angers. They play it back in the middle, and we just cannot put a stop to this one, as in the 77th minute, we go down 1-0. It's going to be a chance for us to push more players forward, just like we did in the first match of the episode against Napoli. It was almost as if the struggles that we faced throughout this episode all led to this moment, as we win the ball back courtesy of a press from Bazor. 84th minute, as Talvan will shoot this one on his right foot. Cross goal, and finally, the goalkeeper won't be making that save. Clutch moment for our captain. Not exactly known to have the best weak foot, but he does enough to find the back of the net here. In the 88th minute, we're looking for one more. Of course, a draw is not enough. We would then have to rely on some results to go in our favor. And it is Rongier, who has stepped up on so many occasions. He somehow gets off this finesse shot effort. And in dramatic fashion, it appears that we'll be walking away with all 3 points in this one. I don't want to leave another match or season like we did here, but it made for some entertaining footage for you guys. Absolute scenes here, as we're going to now get into the final match of this season. That'll be played against Stade Brest, but I'm not going to leave you with too much anticipation. We do ultimately finish 3rd in the league. Bordeaux dropping points, meaning that Lille will finish 4th. We're going to develop some more storylines for this final. After not having Hernandez available throughout this entire episode, he finally recovered from his injury. He's gone up +5 at this point, still has potential to be special, and I have tried to put him through some training drills to improve that sharpness for this match. I had a lot of confidence going into this cup final. Not only have we won this competition last season, but our path to the final was very difficult. Looking at some of our opposition's opponents, I feel like they played against a lot of Ligue 2 sides. That's not to mean that they don't deserve this place in the final, but we certainly had our fair share of tough opponents, and this should be the easiest of the bunch. Right from the start of this match, I could tell the difference that having Hernandez available would make. He just offers so much quickness on the ball, and we can speed up our build-up play, eventually setting up Rongier, who will carry forward a lot of momentum into this match, considering he saved our Champions League hopes in the last match. And here, just a typical cross-goal effort. No way the keeper can save that. But the tricky thing about our opponents is that we didn't know a whole lot about them going into the match, and they were very tenacious to get the equalizer. And once again, it's some defensive mistakes out of the back, and eventually it will be set up with a headed effort towards goal. Again, really a little bit out of form in recent matches, but they'll get the equalizer there as we look to respond in the 17th minute. It's Milik who holds off a defender, setting up Azor. This should have been a goal had it not been for an even better save from the goalkeeper. At the halftime break, we're going to make a substitution, bring Payet on as our club captain. I want to give him a chance to potentially lift a trophy for us. With him being such a big part of Marseille's history and even the first season of this career mode, I want to at least give him this chance because who knows how long his career will be lasting. He's down to a 73 rated player now, even with his contract, with a couple of years left on it. But here in the 58th minute, we've got some good build-up play. Again, it's Rongier played through. Don't know what's going on with their fullbacks leaving that much space, and it will be a second goal for us. How many times have we seen goals like this one? And there's no way I could have expected this from a center midfielder who I believe has medium-high work rates and even has center defensive mid as one of his secondary positions. But Rongier quickly turning into a legend here for us at Marseille. Unfortunately, in the 65th minute, our opponents again find the equalizer. Looking back at this club's history, they've never won a competition in France, so this would be a historic campaign if they can get the winning result here. As we trickle down to the final minutes of regulation time, I was a bit concerned that we'd let up another opportunity, but we do get a takeaway, and with a lot of space ahead of Talvan, we will get the last goal scoring chance. He's got a few options in the middle. Eventually, he'll be setting up Milik. One more quick pass to Hernandez on his first match back here at Marseille. He will be getting the match-winning goal. We've scored so many late winners in this episode, but I think this was my favorite one out of the bunch because this will secure us our second trophy of the season. We just need to keep taking some of the positives that we've had from Season 2 and carry that forward to Season 3. Finally, push forward to the later stages of Champions League, and I think become one of the top two, if not the top team in France. This could also be the final match that Payet will make an appearance here at Marseille. I think in Season 3, it would be realistic for us to transfer list Payet or Mandanda. Maybe y'all could let me know some of your thoughts in the comment section, what we should do about these aging legends. But we'll now get into the end of season recap. Once again, a lot to cover here as we start thinking about our plans for next season. Of course, we already know how Ligue 1 finished, PSG winning the title and redeeming themselves from last season's performance that saw them finish second. But some interesting results here toward the bottom half of the table. Caen, Gangalp, and Troyes finishing as the bottom three clubs. It's nice to see that Saint-Etienne have made the swift return back to the top division of France after being relegated last season. Lorient also joined them, but Toulouse, doing quite well to reach the promotion playoff final, did ultimately lose that match across two legs, 2-1, as Caen remain in Ligue 1. We had a much better distribution of goals in this second season. Milik still leading the way with 19 goals across 53 matches. I don't think his goal to game conversion ratio was quite as good, but he did go up +3 in his rating, so nice to see that he's developing nicely. Tolvan, second place with 17 from 56, and Bazor and Hernandez joint third, 13 from 49 and 13 from 40. Tolvan has stepped up as our new club captain, managing 9 assists from 56 appearances. Hernandez, despite missing a lot of matches this season, 7 assists from 40, and Amavi from the left back position of all places secured 6 assists from 56. Some good returns from the top growth category as well. Bruno Cardozo is probably our best youth academy prospect that we found so far in this save. He spent the season out on loan at Herenveen, and he went up +9, now to a 71 overall. Who knows how much Hernandez could have gone up in his rating had he not been injured for several months, but I'll still take a +5, now up to an 83 overall. And we had a couple players on a +4, but I decided to discuss Joseph Afenu because we'll likely change him to be a striker, which will give him even more of an upgrade in his overall. So stay tuned for that in Season 3. Switching over to some of the statistics, Leon had a very good performance in Liga 1 this season. Ocampos with the most goals for the league. We had two players feature in the top 15, Milik in 9th with 14 from 35, also Tovan with 13 from 38. It looks like we have a little bit of work to do for the assist category because no appearances here in the top 15. Neymar with the most assists in the league, 15 from 38. And I would say I'm happy with Ruli's performance. He had the 5th most clean sheets in the league, 11 from 37, not bad at all. And while he didn't go up too much in his overall rating yet, his in-game performance were spectacular, and I still have faith that he can become a top goalkeeper for us. Recapping some of the past competitions, we did kick off the season with a win in the Trophée des Champions, following that up with a win in the Coupe Nationale. So we won the double this year, not bad at all. Champions League went to Liverpool in an all-English final. Kind of surprised to see Arsenal make it here, but they'll take that, of course, reaching the later stages of Champions League. And an all-German final for Europa League as Leverkusen won that competition. I've narrowed down our youth academy to pretty much only select the top prospects. 3 players now, with the top one being a 15-year-old left midfielder, Levesque, at a 65 overall. Potential of 88 to 94, so once he is 16, we'll of course get the call up to our first team. But reiterating again, I'm extremely happy with how the squad has progressed. We're starting to get some of the older players out of the squad, whether that be their contract coming to an end or just by transfer listing them. And on the flip side, our younger players are developing rapidly. I want to make the youth academy a big focus for our career mode. I'm glad to see our homegrown talent in Hernandez is finally becoming what I've expected a homegrown talent to be, one of the top players in the side. Our manager rating isn't at its best. We had big expectations both domestically and continentally that we didn't fulfill. But for the youth development, we did manage to sign at least 2 players with a good potential. Brand exposure meeting both of these as well by getting 10 games or more with at least 1 goal scored in away matches and signing 1 crucial defender. There was no way that we were going to meet our financial objective of keeping the player's salary growth under 10% with the number of signings that we made. And within the next few seasons, we need to step up our game and win Liga 1 before the board gets too unhappy, as I expect us to have a similar objective next year. Same thing for continental success. We probably will have to at least reach the semi-final or the final of that competition. Shout out to channel members for supporting what we do here on YouTube. If you want to learn more about the YouTube membership program, you can click the join button right underneath the video or the link that's available in the description. You get access to emotes to use in the comment section of these videos and live stream chat. But as we turn our attention to our squad going into Season 3, again, I'll be asking for feedback as far as what areas you think we should improve. It'll depend on how many funds the board give us, but maybe we'll consider the Camara transfer next season or maybe the season after that. Otherwise, we'll probably look to maybe make some squad depth signings. I'll leave it up to y'all. But if you did enjoy this episode of the Marseille Career Mode, make sure you leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. But until next time, this has been Flick. I'll be talking to y'all again soon.